Yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Just definitely want to just jump on here. Want to kick off the discussion. Um, you, I definitely want to kick in the discussion a bit about um, just the psychological, um, really uh, self self-reflected hatred of oneself. I definitely want to put a little bit of clarification on it. But a lot of people touched on it, definitely was talking about the same thing that I pretty much kind of already figured out in a way, because I did tell this a few coworkers and stuff like that, and a couple people, that most black people have a disregard of black life. Not just a disregard on black life, but they have a disregard or a disdain of black existence, um, looking at themselves in the mirror, and they seeing that type of reflection or image on a constant routine, um, everyday living. So I mean, with the Memphis, the city kinds is kind of flared up over the brother getting killed. There was some speculation that dude killed another black person, so it was like a black on black crime that they kind of ended up killing him as well. Um, so it was kind of like it's not to demonize nothing. Cause I'm not really gonna get on no personal, talking shit on whatever. It's just gonna be more on a generalization and really just get to a focus point on it. My focus point is there is a mentality that most black people have that is related to trauma, and maybe to somewhat of a disorder, but mainly to trauma. That's that a lot of people, scientists even prove it, is carried through your DNA, your genes, and your genetics. So when you think about genetics, it's a memory of basically of awareness, and almost and also could be a blueprint of certain things of what you're going to become, what you're going to think, or what type of person you're going to be. It's all already written into your DNA structure. So, besides, from getting to that point of the genetics and the biology of it, I'm gonna come back to the psychological of it, about a self hatred that a lot of black people do have. Some black people have. Um, Now you want to talk about the hood, and I do tell people, like I tell my coworkers, we truck drivers, man. So he was talking about, man, I be in the hood, and he got to draw fuel, and he said, dudes give him shit. You know what I'm saying? But when he was with his trainer was a white dude. White dude was talking shit to them dudes. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't say anything. They just kind of just kept it moving. And I told them the reason why they uphold white lives. And like, we are conditioned. Every black person, from generate all the way to slavery, is was psychological, mentally, and in a way genetically engineered to unconsciously, in an involuntary sense of awareness, uphold white lives, while in the same opposite, the exact opposite, they are in a way engineered the same type of process to discredit black life. So it's kind of like, almost like an engineer of self-hatred that that many of us was not aware of, or we didn't have no knowledge to even label it. But now a lot of us are starting to become conscious of this, And we are now starting to see that there is a genetic, dramatic mental illness that a lot of blacks have, because this is also part of mental illness. But in a way, it was a structural engineer of genetic engineering as well. That's how I stated. So, um, when you look at like a balance, like a chemical imbalance or something, it's always due to an irregularity in the DNA compound structure of whatever parents, or even down the line of the hereditary line. There was a dysfunction, something that caused a dysfunction that I finally showed in whatever person that is within that hereditary line. So, but yeah, I definitely want to let you know, like swirlers and bed witches, that is another form of a self hatred, but more of a them having some type of the resentment, or some of them don't have, or someone was brought up in white society or dominant society into thinking that the dominant society is more righteous than being in the black society, and you do have certain people that came out that way. But what the majority of us do have is not all the way around to the being bedwitching or swirlers, but a lot of us have that already in us. Because even occasionally, back in the days when I was coming up, I even showed some of that as well. Like, I will have certain type of contempt of white life, but have a distasteful on black life. Um, Now, in my case is different. My case was just a little bit more different because who I slang, who I did a lot of criminal activity was around a lot of white people, a lot of white dudes. I did a lot of criminal activity around the brothers, but I did a lot of criminal activities around the white dude. And some things, not to say, but there were some things that I seen. There were some things I did among white society. Um, so my pretense of having that soul. Plus, I love myself. If you love yourself, you're not going to have a self hatred. If you don't love yourself and you hate yourself, you hate yourself because of basically of an image, or basically a mirror image appearance of yourself, and you count and you project it to somebody that have that same type of imagery as you do. So, but like I said, I mean, I was young. I'm a work in progress. When I was young, I thought I was white. That's crazy. I thought I was white. I was with a number of white kids. It was like one or two black kids. Did have a black homeboy of mine. Um, but I had with a lot of white kids and stuff. So at a moment, I thought I was white. I learned real quick, that I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Um, kids are very aware of color. You know what I'm saying? They're not colorblind. Kids are more brutally honest about color than adults are. If you want to be perfectly honest, a little white girl told me like, "Hey, you ain't white. You black." You know what I'm saying? You don't look like us. You black. And then she told me, I don't like black people. I don't like black boys. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that was kind of like my little wake up call in that type of realizing that, okay, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Um, for a moment I thought I wasn't, but I am black. There is a certain type of order in this life that I'm living. You know what I'm saying? Or the society that I was in, and I was somewhat aware of that. Um, it wasn't blatantly, but that was probably the most realist wake up call I had. And that was in preschool. So believe me, kids at 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, they already understand the deal a little bit. But they get a taste of race every day. Now how they handle it, It's totally on that individual child. But they do get a taste of race at a very early age. But like I said, that's more about a self awareness, a self loving. If you have self hatred, that's where you're gonna project that. If you have a self awareness, because self hatred and self awareness is basically uh, self love and self hatred is the same thing under self awareness. So I definitely just want to just explain a little bit that not all black people really understand this, that they have an unconsciously affinity to white life versus black life, or a disregard, and it goes down to black love and interracial love, or what you want to call it. You have a lot of dudes that talk shit on sisters, but they keep going having sex with them, having kids with them. Same with the woman, they might talk shit on the black dudes, on the brothers, but they constantly going with them. They constantly having babies with them. So there's no, like, pretty much black people don't really, or ADUS people, some of us don't understand of a construct that we are in. Even what we're saying, we still follow that natural process of concept. And and that's where I think most of us is starting to now see that part. I think a lot of us didn't see that part. Like me, I didn't see that part. And I finally, when I started really looking at society, I actually starting to see that part. But yeah, we really have to change the mentality, and really get everybody into a more of a conscious understanding, to understand where are they actually um, are doing when they are in a interaction with white person or interaction with black person. And that's probably what a lot of us is not waking up to. Um, there is a psychological, almost like a praise that's unconsciously praise white lives while disregarding black lives. And that's where we need to come to a realization of that. And also change that consciousness and get it into be unconscious to conscious. But definitely, I just want to really get on there. A lot of people was talking about that, and I was thinking about that. I was in a couple chat. Shout out to Nala, Sad, shout out to Misha. Because they really kind of really pointed out there. Um, but definitely want to just get pause to that and just really come and talk about that. All right, one.